Congress gets the president's tax money.
They're getting a look now such as no man has ever had at the surface.
To remind you to let your fingers do the walking.
This instrument can teach, it can illuminate, yes, and even it can inspire. But it can do so only to the extent that humans are determined to use it to those ends. Otherwise, it's nothing but wires and lights in a box. There is a great and perhaps decisive battle to be fought against ignorance, intolerance, and indifference. This weapon of television could be useful.
Students are being recognized here at the 47th Annual Edward R. Murrow Awards, demonstrating what the future of journalism looks like.
The First Amendment is our right to inform, investigate, and tell the truth.
If we are truly to be free, we must be able to freely communicate thoughts and experiences and ideas. And the First Amendment allows us to do that. And we are honored to be able to move that forward.
Well, one of our founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson, said it so beautifully, and it's printed on the wall behind me. Our liberty depends on the freedom of the press.
For my staff to be able to sit in this room twice a day and look at that and be reminded of how important our jobs are and how crucial the press is to democracy, I'm thankful that this is here.
Our job is to amplify voices who don't have a megaphone or the power to do so. The First Amendment makes that possible, and we take that very seriously.
It's no coincidence that we hung the First Amendment outside of the 11 News I-Team offices. Our reporters take pride in giving a voice to the voiceless and holding our public officials accountable. Couldn't do our jobs every day without it.
The First Amendment is both our sword and our shield as we fight for government transparency and accountability.
The First Amendment is more than a right, it's a responsibility. It's a responsibility to get all sides of the story. It's a responsibility to be fair. It's a responsibility to accurately reflect the community.
The First Amendment is the cornerstone of the Constitution. It empowers journalists to hold those in power accountable without fear of repercussion. Without it, is it really journalism?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2020 RTDNA Edward R. Murrow Awards, the first virtual RTDNA award show. Tonight, we will honor the best of the best in television, radio, and digital news. And now, from Gotham Hall in New York City, please welcome Executive Director of the Radio Television Digital News Association and Foundation, Dan Shelley.
Good evening, everyone. We know that this year has been extraordinarily tough, and we're not even through the election yet. 2020 has brought about challenges that have tested us at every level of our professionalism and humanity, and I couldn't be more proud that you're always there covering it all. That you, despite the previously unthinkable professional and personal challenges you've faced, are continuing to serve your communities with distinction and dignity and professionalism. At RTDNA, this is one of our favorite nights. Under normal circumstances, we'd be gathered under the glowing lights and watchful eye of Edward R. Murrow right here at Gotham Hall in New York City. But we all know this isn't a normal year. We're so happy we're able to still be together, even though we're physically apart. Before we get started, I'd want you to know that RTDNA has been working hard this year to provide the resources, training, and support you need during these challenging times. We're producing more education than ever before, creating resources to keep you safe as you cover COVID and civil unrest, not to mention economic uncertainty. We're going to bat for you when it comes to the rights of journalists to do their jobs effectively in every state and every community. Because that's what it's all about, community. Your work directly impacts the lives of those in your local schools, in businesses, in backyards, in city halls, and in coffee shops. And that, my friends, is why we're all here tonight celebrating excellence in journalism. No matter the year, no matter the challenges, your work matters. In the words of the great Edward R. Murrow himself, difficulty is the excuse history never accepts. So keep moving forward, because the greatest gifts we can give the world are the stories that never otherwise would have been told. Congratulations to the winners, and enjoy the evening. Above all, stay safe.
Please welcome from WFAA Dallas, Dale Hansen.
I don't think there's been a better or a more important time to be a journalist in America than a journalist in America now. Oh, there have been easier times. Newsrooms are bigger, so were the newsroom budgets. But what so many people see as a problem is really nothing more than a mislabeled opportunity. The opportunity to be a problem solver. And those people are desperately needed in our society and in our newsrooms now more than ever. There's an old adage that all politics is local, and while it might not seem like that sometimes, it is still true. We all care about the national debate about the coronavirus, but we care about how it impacts our community more. The national debate to open our schools is really about our children's school. And the debates about gun control, health insurance, the safety of our neighborhoods, and even the national sports we follow matters more when our local team is playing. Local news plays a huge role in the community. It's our job to question the community leaders. It's not our job to be their friend. It's our job to promote and protect the community. It's not our job to promote and protect the community leaders. And it's our job to shine a light into the darkness where so many leaders like to hide. The darkness where they create our congressional districts, telling us they're gerrymandering to protect their party, is only a realignment long overdue. It is the local station that covers the wildfires in California, the police shooting in Missouri, the police abuse in Minneapolis, and so many other cities I can unfortunately name. And it is the local station that really tells the story of the local farmer or the local business struggling to survive in a time when so many of us are struggling to get by. Many of the national stories we all know about are because a local reporter told the story first. What we do matters. If not us, who? If not now, when? Silence is not an option, and it never has been. This is a great profession we have all decided to work in. It's a noble profession that people have always tried to shame and discredit. We've all heard this: It is the press above all which wages a positively fanatical and slanderous struggle, tearing down everything which can be regarded as a support of national independence. Adolf Hitler, 1925. We are not the enemy of the American people because we are the American people. We are the ones who write the original version of America's history, and we provide the answers every community in America needs. This is not a problem. This is your opportunity. This is your responsibility. And this is your obligation. Because what we do matters. Now, let's give the awards to those who understand the role we play and for the great work they do.
To start with our first awards of the evening, television and digital feature reporting, please welcome from CBS News and CBS This Morning, Peabody Award winner, Vladimir Duthiers.
A beautiful collaboration to preserve the soundtrack of a family's life before it faded into the fog of Alzheimer's. The epic sail along a glacier and what it means for countless cities in a time of global climate change. The struggle and humanity of American immigration and all those involved. The recovery of a Montana cowboy who nearly died while riding at a Texas rodeo. Special Olympics volunteers breaking the bonds of one intellectually disabled man through sports. These are the compelling TV and digital feature reporting Murrow winning pieces of 2020. Small Market TV, KTVQ TV for J.R. Vezane, Will to Walk. Large Market TV, KGW TV for Saving His Music. Network TV, Unchained, ESPN for The Messenger. Small Digital News Organization, the Marshall Project for We Are Witnesses, Becoming an American. Large Digital News Organization, the Boston Globe for At the Edge of a Warming World.
And now, to present the Radio Awards for feature reporting, co-host of NBC's Today Show, Craig Melvin.
This year's radio winners for feature reporting were on the scene for the biggest global stories and the most compelling local stories as well. Little-known laws that tangle with lies and the practical implications through the lens of the First Amendment. The impact of global temperatures rising on a favorite beach serving as the background for change scientists say is coming. The instability that leads to a common struggle of New York high school students to complete their degree in 4 years. These winners were there for it all. In small market radio, New Hampshire Public Radio, for model citizen, no. But Exeter Man is at the center of First Amendment dispute. Large market radio, WNYC Radio for trying to graduate from high school at 21. And in network radio, Reveal from the Center for Investigative Reporting and the World for To the Ends of the Earth.
Presenting overall excellence in small market television, please welcome Chief Washington Correspondent for CBS News, Major Garrett.
The judge is recognizing this small market station for overall excellence said, and I quote, "They demonstrate why mediocrity is not a standard. Hard work and dedication to the craft is." And they added, "When does a small market television station feel like a major market broadcast news operation? It's demonstrated in the writing and reporting of daily news 24/7. Viewers watching this station simply can't tell the difference when watching this excellent team of journalists perform at the highest levels of broadcast excellence." So, let's take a look.
First, the governor's strong stance on abortion.
The infant would be delivered.
Prompted this offensive photo to surface after an apology, and this.
It's not me.
Plus the second in line fighting accusations. Hear in detail how the lieutenant governor's alleged victim says she was violated and sexually assaulted. Now, the third in line admits he dressed in blackface.
So what now?
Can you see why people call you a monster?
Jesse Matthew, the man who killed Morgan Harrington and Hannah Graham, being moved out of a maximum security prison.
My job is here to protect and serve.
Officer Fleming believes
for me to be a catalyst to young people, regardless of race, color, creed, religion, I feel like I can be a positive change.
Whether that's catching the bad guys or doing a cartwheel.
Remember, I'm always here, not just for the bad stuff, but for the good stuff, right?
That is impressive coverage. Congratulations to WTVR-TV in Richmond, Virginia for their laudable work in 2019.
Stay tuned. Coming up next is the Small Market Radio for Overall Excellence winner, breaking news coverage, and more. The 2020 RTDNA Edward R. Murrow Awards will continue in just a few minutes.
Congress gets the president's tax man.
They're getting a look now such as no man has ever had at the surface of to remind you to let your fingers do the walking.
This instrument can teach, it can illuminate, yes, and even it can inspire. But it can do so only to the extent that humans are determined to use it to those ends. Otherwise, it's nothing but wires and lights in a box. There is a great and perhaps decisive battle to be fought against ignorance, intolerance, and indifference. This weapon of television could be useful.
Students are being recognized here at the 47th Annual Edward R. Murrow Awards, demonstrating what the future of journalism looks like.
And now, to present the honors in continuing coverage, please welcome White House correspondent for PBS NewsHour, Yamiche Alcindor.
The winning entries for continuing coverage provided much-needed information for local and global communities, from voter rolls to asylum seekers, flooding, vehicle recalls, and pregnant mothers struggling with addiction, police violence, the halt of the Boeing 737 MAX 8, and an in-depth look at China's crackdown on ethnic minorities. Congratulations to the winners. Small Market TV, WCAX TV for The Fix, Mothers and Babies in Crisis. Large Market TV, WFTS TV for Up in Flames, investigating the cause of Kia and Hyundai fires. Network TV, NBC Nightly News for Boeing 737 MAX 8. Small Market Radio, NET, for Nebraska flooding 2019. Large Market Radio, Minnesota Public Radio, for its continued coverage of the Noor trial. Network Radio, NPR News, for There Is No Protection, exposing the Remain in Mexico policy. Small digital news organization, the Texas Tribune, for Inside Texas's botched voter rolls review. Large digital news organization, the New York Times, for China's crackdown of the Uyghurs.
Please welcome the chairwoman of the Radio Television Digital News Association and news director at WLKY in Louisville, Kentucky, Andrea Stallman.
These winners delivered up-to-the-minute breaking news reports. As Venezuelan migrants crossed into the United States, police raided the home of a Baltimore mayor, and fire blazed through more than 1,800 acres of California. They were on the scene as the Notre Dame Cathedral burned, a fast-moving brush fire destroyed homes and forced massive evacuations, an EF3 tornado ripped through a state capitol, and in response to tragic mass shootings in Ohio and Texas. The winners are Small Market TV, KRCG TV for May 2019 tornado. Large Market TV, KABC TV for Easy Hill fires and red flag warnings, high winds. Network TV, NBC News Sunday Today with Willie Geist for deadly mass shootings. Small Market Radio, KCLU AM FM for Ventura County brush fire forces thousands of evacuations. Large Market Radio, WBAL AM for the FBI raids Mayor Pugh's home. Network Radio, CBS News Radio for their breaking news coverage of the Notre Dame fire. Large digital news organization, Real America with Jorge Ramos on Facebook Watch for Border Issues Venezuela.
Presenting the award for overall excellence in small market radio, please welcome ABC News correspondent Lindsay Davis.
The overall excellence in small market radio winner delivered breaking news, deep perspective, and worked hard to keep their community informed of issues affecting audiences across the board. Judges said of this winner, impressive and important journalism delivered in thoughtful presentations. Let's listen.
If you add up the number of callers who were dropped and who hung up, you get a staggering statistic. Only half of calls to the adult abuse hotline were answered last year.
Literally, as I looked at my phone, I looked up, wind started going nuts, and then everything was green. And then my mom always told me when things go green, it's a tornado.
At the age of 21, Mullane died of a heroin overdose in a friend's basement. Arbini says at the time he had 9 prescriptions from different doctors, but there was no statewide prescription drug monitoring program, or PDMP, then to keep track. And there still isn't. Missouri is the only state in the country without a statewide PDMP.
By the late 1940s, several states had passed what were called sexual psychopath laws. And that meant that by definition, if you were homosexual, you were a sexual psychopath. Some places had mandatory psychiatric treatment. It's important to remember that the American Psychological Association didn't take homosexuality off the list of mental illnesses until 1973.
Congratulations to KBIA News in Columbia, Missouri, for their win for overall excellence in small market radio.
The 2020 RTDNA Edward R. Murrow Awards continues next with large market TV overall excellence and more. We'll be right back.
How do you make sense of an election as unprecedented as this? We have 2 words: true journalism.
This is our time.
At CBS News, we believe true journalism is honest and fair and always shines a light on the truth. True journalism listens to all voices and leaves the decisions to you.
We started Full Court Press to be different from other Sunday shows, to include the very important local focus on national issues. I never could have imagined what 2020 would bring. More than ever, our team is driven by what is happening outside Washington, D.C. It's about bringing politics home, getting answers for everyone worried about what happens next, and giving you the power to decide.
It takes a team to gather, to assemble, to broadcast. And how teams are connected is more important than ever. Stringer, a full suite of storytelling tools, from sourcing video in the field, all the way through transcription, editing, captioning, and broadcasting in the cloud, where every bit of video is stored forever, searchable, and resellable. Revolutionize how your team collaborates. Revolutionize your storytelling. Stringer.
To present excellence in social media, please welcome ABC News Radio Morning Drive news anchor, Sherry Preston.
All of this year's winners for excellence in social media demonstrated a strong commitment to telling impactful stories through Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, just to name a few, showing they were ready and willing to meet the audience where they are and keep them informed. Congratulations to each of them for their thoughtful work on social media. Small Market TV, KTVA TV in Anchorage, Alaska. Large Market TV, KNTV, San Jose, California. Network TV, Voice of America for The Worth of a Girl. Small Market Radio, WITF in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania for 3 Mile Island As It Happened. Large Market Radio, KSL, Salt Lake City, Utah for Cold, Susan Powell Case Files. Network Radio, Reveal from the Center for Investigative Reporting. Small digital news organization, ProPublica for ProPublica and its readers audit the for-profit tax prep industry and Congress too. Large digital news organization, AJ Plus and Al Jazeera for Direct from Puerto Rico.
What a year 2020 has been for the world, for our communities, for journalists. As you've heard and will continue to hear tonight, the work you're doing is so important, so critical to the everyday lives of the people you serve. But we know the work is hard. At RTDNA, we're working to protect you and the craft every day, to support and uplift your newsrooms and your teams, because journalism matters. Not only do we continue to honor excellence in journalism, just like we are tonight, but we're working hard to provide you with the education and resources to do your job better, to respond to changing climates and times, to adequately protect yourselves on the job, to know your rights as a journalist. We're also fighting for those rights at the local, state, and federal levels by speaking out, showing support, and advocating for legislation that helps you do your jobs safely and without restraint. If you're not already involved with RTDNA, I would invite you to join us. Collectively, we can affect change in our newsrooms, our communities, and the country. What we do is too important to sit idly by. I hope you'll become part of RTDNA tonight. There's no better time than the present. Congratulations to all the winners. Now let's get back to the awards.
From CBS News Radio, here to present excellence in video, please welcome award-winning multimedia journalist Allison Keyes.
Excellence in Video told critically important stories through incredible visuals, highlighting topics like religious freedom, time-lapse photography, and the world's largest ice carousel. Audiences learned important information about the overnight effects of the shuttering of online lending platforms, a teenage activist, a native dance festival, city murals, and the breathtaking diversity of our planet. The winners are Small Market TV, WREX-TV for Rockford and Color, Large Market TV, KARE-TV for A New Spin on Winter, Network TV, Netflix for Our Planet, Small Market Radio, KYUK Public Media Inc. and Alaska Public Media for Watch, The Legacy of Marianne Sundown and Agnes Aguchuk, Large Market Radio, KERA for Artist Spotlight, Jordan Mathis, Visual Time-Lapse Artist, Network Radio, Radio Free Asia for The Gray Rhino, Small Digital News Organization, Great Big Story for Great Big Story, The Brave, Large Digital News Organization, Spectrum News for Street Level, Northern Boulevard.
Here's what the judges had to say about this year's overall excellence in large market television. In a very crowded field with journalistic excellence, this news team excelled, providing relevance, enterprise, and extraordinary journalism. It is a news operation that should be looked at as an example for stations across the nation who are seeking to be a community leader in their respective markets. Let's watch.
Demands from investigators to hand over a passcode so they can see what's inside.
Cell phones provide, in some cases, pretty pivotal evidence.
Do the court, police, and investigators have the authority to search your phone? We're going 360, and we're making sure you know your rights.
Need all available officers.
2 Denver officers down.
A neighborhood transformed into a war zone.
I've got an armed suspect in the basement. Shots fired. Send me everybody.
Tonight, claims of secretly dismembering and selling body parts in the hours after a death.
The FBI is talking to people. We're talking to people. They say you betrayed their trust to make money, to sell body parts.
How can this happen?
I just want to hug my kids when I see them.
Frantic students and parents raced to the Northridge Rec Center after the unthinkable happened. Again.
We just heard that there was a shooter in the school, and this is where we should pick up our kids.
More buses coming in! Congratulations to KMGH-TV in Denver, Colorado. You're doing incredible work to keep your community informed.
Stay tuned. Coming up next are the Student Murrow Awards, Large Market Radio Honor for Overall Excellence, and more. The 2020 RTDNA Edward R. Murrow Awards. We'll be right back.
Congress shall make no law
respecting an establishment of
religion or prohibiting the
free exercise thereof,
or abridging
freedom of speech
or of the press,
or the right of the people peacefully to assemble.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
and to petition the government
for a redress of grievances.
This is what democracy looks like.
the first for now, the first for the future, the first for all.
We all know how critical supporting the next generation of journalists is, and I'm so proud to be able to highlight some of their outstanding work. Top students, some now recent graduates from across the country, covered controversy on their campus, the decline of industry in Appalachia, an empire built on trash, a harrowing escape from drug violence and poverty, and allegations of sexual harassment and misconduct. These students are shining examples that the future of journalism is indeed in good hands. Let's take a look.
Coming up on Carolina Connection, Kevin Guskowitz is named UNC's interim chancellor, and he's already responding to new controversy.
Also this morning, on the anniversary of the Finley Forest shooting, people come together to honor the 3 young victims. New research raises questions about the health effects of the herbal drug kratom. And we learn about a Carborough man who spends his free time picking up trash.
Đối với làng nghề này thì hầu như là 95% là họ sống bằng cái nghề tái chế rác. Tuy nhiên thì phải nói là cái nghề đã có truyền thống từ lâu nay và
all the recycling businesses are really dirty businesses.
A total of 120 men died while working at Weirton Steel. The dangers made it all the more important for steelworkers to have a deep trust in one another.
They were all very close-knit.
Larry would work in this flaming kingdom for 30 years. His whole life's dedication spent refining a dangerous but rewarding craft. Yet, these years of devotion in the pit would make it all the harder for Larry when Weirton Steel finally went under.
Over 40 migrants were arrested and deported at the border this past week. Chaos broke after a group of them made a dash and attempted to cross the border in plain sight. Seen here are migrants attempting to cross the border. Fences, street trafficking guards were no match for this alarming attempt. Tear gas flew from the U.S. side of the border as Border Patrol agents struggled to control the migrants, including many women and children.
It was supposed to be a retreat.
I remember in that moment just feeling like paralyzing fear.
It was a trip to discover enlightenment.
If I could go back and tell myself to not go, I would tell myself to not go.
Allegations of misconduct at the very place students go on the interterm course. The Larimer County Sheriff's Department announcing in December of 2018 they were investigating possible criminal activity at the Shambhala Mountain Center.
A prolific serial killer, a big demolition mess, ending a life with dignity and confronting death on your own terms. A journey back in history to the invasion of Normandy, the trial of a physician accused of multiple counts of sexual assault on minors, truly engaging with viewers on a local level and stories that capture Americans around the country. These winners are excellence in writing at its finest. Small Market TV, WGRZ TV, Kate Welshover. Large Market TV, King TV for Sharifi stories. Network TV, the CBS Evening News for On the Road with Steve Hartman. Small Market Radio, South Dakota Public Broadcasting for Stanley Weber Trial. Large Market Radio, KCUR for What Do You Get from Demolishing Kansas City's Terminal A? A lot of recycling. Network Radio, NPR for The Ventilator, Life, Death, and the Choices We Make at the End. Small Digital News Organization, PA Post, for how a Pennsylvanian ended up in an iconic D-Day invasion photo. Large Digital News Organization, the Dallas Morning News for Guardians.
In overall excellence for large market radio, this is what judges had to say about the winner. A strong example of what local news should be. On the scene examples of how the real humans are impacted, and solid news coverage with live reports and great writing with a wide variety of stories. Let's hear some of their coverage now.
Well, things went to hell in the last 90 seconds. The fire was on top of the ridge, and then it swept down. The wind's pushing it. Right now it's burning right up to the edge of the 23 freeway. The temperature just went up to about 150 degrees. Eyebrows are beginning to singe a bit. We got flames about 70 feet over my head.
There's a lot of evidence here that implicates the president, so there's no way I can say he's in the clear. I can't exonerate him. But it wouldn't be fair to reach the ultimate conclusion as to whether he's guilty of obstruction, because I might well find he is.
Harvey Weinstein's latest lawyer, Donna Rotuno, defending her client in the court of public opinion.
I'm not here to say that he was not guilty of committing sins. I'm not here to say that at all, but there's a difference between sins and crimes. And I don't think he's a rapist.
I'm living on the air in Cincinnati.
On television, WKRP in Cincinnati was in its second season.
WKRP.
Number one on the radio,
My Sharona.
The Knack, My Sharona. What year was it?
First caller with the correct year wins a pair of tickets to see him at the Forum, September 22nd.
KNX AM in Los Angeles, California. Congratulations on your win.
Stay tuned. The 2020 RTDNA Edward R. Murrow Awards will continue after this brief break.
We voted by mail during a civil war, a world war, and a global pandemic. Another world war. And now, another global pandemic. No matter what this country faces, we always find a way to vote.
Now, when it matters most, the straightforward facts. ABC News is America's #1 news. #1 in the morning, #1 in the evening, and the #1 show on all of television. #1 in late night versus the competition. #1 in politics versus the competition. The #1 daytime talk show. And #1 in streaming news. Most trusted, most watched. ABC News is America's #1 news.
Journalism gives me that sense of ongoing service I hadn't quite felt since I got out of the Marine Corps.
Military Veterans in Journalism is an organization for veterans to support their career growth in the news business.
My mentor has helped me to kind of see where my passions lie. This time I'm not serving my country in uniform. I'm informing the public with accurate storytelling and impact.
Presenting the awards for radio and digital work in the hard news category, anchor for the weekend edition of CNN Newsroom, Frederica Whitfield.
Radio and digital hard news stories covered the journey of migrants to the U.S. in search of a better life. A critical look at kindergarten education in the aftermath of a water crisis and civilian casualties from a U.S. airstrike. The winning entries made sure audiences learned more about climate change and its direct impacts and a controversial election with hundreds of missing ballots. The winners are Small Market Radio, Marfa Public Radio for box of ballots found in Texas could change outcome of Midland bond proposal again. Large Market Radio, Michigan Radio, exposed to lead in infancy. Now Flint's youngest students face challenges in school. Network Radio, NPR for The Van, casualties in the Baghdadi raid. Small Market Digital News Organization, NBC LX for The Joshua Trees Are Dying. Large Digital News Organization, The Texas Tribune, and Time for Border Hustle.
Television stations covered diverse and hard-hitting news stories in 2019, too. A plan to push aggressively an expensive drug despite the unknowns of its effectiveness, a behind-the-scenes look at the challenges faced by the U.S. Border Patrol, and the tragic story of children working 14-hour days in dangerous conditions, all to feed the world's car, plane, and train industries. Congratulations tonight to Small Market TV, KWTX TV, for Battle on Our Border, Do We Need a Wall? Large Market TV, KUSA TV, a Vivitrol success story. Network TV, NBC News investigations for Zone Rouge, an army of children toils in African mines.
In the radio category, news series covered key issues like vaccines and those who oppose them, the troubled federal Teach Grant program, and the impact of wildfires on marginalized populations. Their work is so valuable, and I'm honored to present them with this award. In Small Market Radio, Jefferson Public Radio and USC Annenberg Center for Health Journalism for Oppressed by Wildfire. Large Market Radio, WBUR for Infectious. And in Network Radio, NPR for Good Teachers, Bad Deal.
New series, TV, a story of corruption, embezzlement, and greed in a nonprofit organization that was supposed to be serving veterans. Uncovering human trafficking in multiple spas led to the rescue of multiple women and the enforcement of legislation, and an up-close look at mass incarceration inside Americans' prisons. Congratulations to Small Market TV, KRDO TV for Hiding in Plain Sight. Large Market TV, King TV for their work on Veterans for Profit. Network TV, NBC News Group for Justice for All.
Here's what judges had to say about this year's Small Digital News Organization for overall excellence. From in-depth reporting to stunning imagery and detailed data breakouts, they have done a stellar job capturing the attention, depth, need, and desire to share compelling and interactive content over various topics and platforms. Let's take a look.
It's a human decision. That's what refugee law is really supposed to be. Most immigrants here are law-abiding individuals who just want pretty much the same things we all do. A stable place to live, a future for their children, and a chance to use their skills in an environment where they're not in fear.
Sometimes it's a real chore trying to do this job. We are down there on the border to protect this country, and that's what our job is. And then you have people that are desperate to come into the United States.
Since I was 5 years old, every morning we would pledge the flag. We're very Americanized. As soon as Donald Trump was elected, I knew that life was changing.
The lawyer came to me maybe a few minutes later and say, Juan is in detention.
Our lawyer said, can he hug his kids and wife who are outside? He said, no, we don't offer that courtesy anymore.
For their incredible work, please congratulate the Marshall Project. Well done.
Large Market Digital Overall Excellence Award is coming up next. Stay tuned to the 2020 RTDNA Edward R. Murrow Awards.
These will be the images that will archive this moment in our history. This country was forged in part by shared sacrifice, and once again, we're called to step up. And we've got to get this right. Our job is always to press for answers and to hold our leaders accountable, because information and straight talk can overcome fear. We hope you'll continue to stay informed and stay engaged as we follow this journey together. I'm Lester Holt. Please continue to take care of yourself and each other.
Television, radio, and digital winners in the news documentary category captured compelling stories, ranging from an investigation of discrimination by real estate agents to a divided nation over the first 2 years of the Trump presidency. They explored family struggles and police cover-ups, sailed alongside a giant glacier, dissected the crossroads of old and new culture through song, investigated illegal activities in local spas, and shared the stories of survivors of one of California's deadliest wildfires. The Edward R. Murrow Awards for News Documentary go to Small Market TV, KRDO TV for Hiding in Plain Sight, Large Market TV, WBBM TV for Unwarranted, Network TV, Netflix for Fire in Paradise, Small Market Radio, South Dakota Public Broadcasting for Red Bow, Large Market Radio, KCRW for 2 years, Diaries of a Divided Nation, Network Radio, The World into the Thaw, Decoding Thwaites Glacier, Small Digital News Organization, The Marshall Project for Detained, Large Digital News Organization, Newsday for Long Island Divided.
In Excellence in Sound, audiences hear the unique whistle of a Mexican sweet potato cart, experience the motivation and passion of the units of men and women who perform military honors at funerals, and explore the deadly results of extreme weather driven by climate change. These pieces are filled with the sounds of sea otters, of emergency alert systems, and of anguished parents struggling to care for their sick children. It's certainly easy to listen to why they've been named winners this year. Congratulations to Small Market TV, WPTA TV for We Interrupt This Program, Large Market TV, WEWS TV for A Legacy of Honor, Network TV, Netflix for Life Overtakes Me. In Small Market Radio, KAZU Public Radio for Rescued Sea Otters Returned to the Monterey Bay. Large Market Radio, WBEZ Chicago Public Media for Mexican street food in Pilsen now includes sweet potatoes. Network Radio, NPR for After the Water.
Judges were so impressed with this year's overall excellence winner in the Large Digital News Organization category. They said their presence on digital and social platforms is a notch above the rest in its quality, comprehensiveness, and user experience. The photography, videography, and variety of visual mediums incorporated into their site hold the user's attention. They've done an incredible job of staying relevant by bringing news to wherever their readers are.
We gather today under the dome of this temple of democracy to exercise one of the most solemn powers that this body can take, the impeachment of the President of the United States. It is tragic that the President's reckless actions make impeachment necessary. He gave us no choice.
On October 2nd, 2018, Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi entered the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. It would be the last time he was seen alive.
We've been at war for 18 years now. We're not winning, we're not losing. Presidents come and go, but nothing really seems to change.
Vital national interest to send an additional 30,000 U.S. troops to Afghanistan.
Our troops will fight to win.
And they would give a very detailed case for why the American people should keep having to fight this war halfway around the world. But when you read these interviews, people would say that this was a lot of spin and lies.
Congratulations to the Washington Post for their win as the large digital news organization Overall Excellence.
Stay tuned. Coming up next is the award for feature documentary and more. The 2020 RTDNA Edward R. Murrow Awards will continue in just a few moments.
The First Amendment is our right to inform, investigate, and tell the truth.
If we are truly to be free, we must be able to freely communicate thoughts and experiences and ideas. And the First Amendment allows us to do that. And we are honored to be able to move that forward.
Well, one of our founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson, said it so beautifully, and it's printed on the wall behind me. Our liberty depends on the freedom of the press.
For my staff to be able to sit in this room twice a day and look at that and be reminded of how important our jobs are and how crucial the press is to democracy, I'm thankful that this is here.
Our job is to amplify voices who don't have a megaphone or the power to do so. The First Amendment makes that possible, and we take that very seriously.
It's no coincidence that we hung the First Amendment outside of the 11 News I-Team offices. Our reporters take pride in giving a voice to the voiceless and holding our public officials accountable. Couldn't do our jobs every day without it.
The First Amendment is both our sword and our shield as we fight for government transparency and accountability.
The First Amendment is more than a right, it's a responsibility. It's a responsibility to get all sides of the story. It's a responsibility to be fair. It's a responsibility to accurately reflect the community.
The First Amendment is the cornerstone of the Constitution. It empowers journalists to hold those in power accountable without fear of repercussion. Without it, is it really journalism?
And now, a few words from ABC News Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Pierre Thomas of ABC News. It's an honor and a privilege to join you on a day where we celebrate the best in digital and broadcast journalism with the RTDNA's prestigious Murrow Awards. Congratulations to all those honored. You have done incredible work, offered a great sacrifice to your personal life and to your loved ones. I often say that journalism done well, the right way, the pursuit of truth, is a public service, a calling. We work for the people to give them the information that can help them navigate the complexities of life. This year, we've all faced perhaps the biggest challenge of our lives and careers, COVID-19. With all the complications this pandemic has brought, perhaps the only good thing it has done is to help us focus on what's really important. It has made crystal clear to me why our work is so important. Many days we've been giving people information that literally involves life and death. People have been depending on us for information about the virus, how to protect themselves and their families, to tell them the caseloads at their hospitals, where to get tested, what is the latest on a potential vaccine and treatment. And yes, our job has been to hold everyone accountable, from the private sector to every level of government, from local to federal. If we ever wondered if what we do at the local, regional, and national level matters, and how we go about doing it matters, we now know. Forget the naysayers. Don't let anyone fool you. Our work matters. This is and can be noble work. Yes, I said noble. The truth matters. Information is power. Murrow himself said, "It is well to remember that freedom through the press is the thing that comes first." Most of us probably feel we couldn't be free without newspapers. And that is the real reason why we want newspapers to be free. Take out the word newspapers and insert the word press or journalists. In short, us. Murrow knew way back then that freedom of the press and the work that journalists do is vital for a healthy democracy. That is just as true today as it was then. Beyond the pandemic, whether we're covering the local school board, municipal governments, the economy, the environment, or the White House, the work, our work, has never been more important. Again, we work for the people. But make no mistake, we are in an unusual season. A pandemic coupled with racial strife, all happening amidst an extraordinarily intense presidential campaign. Again, each story, whether it's racial protests at the local courthouse or town square, or where and how people can vote, or whether it's safe to send kids to school, it involves a situation where journalists at the local, state, and national levels each need to be at their best as we all simultaneously cover these stories. We're all in this together. That is why the Murrow Awards in honoring excellence is so important. In times like this, we need to be reminded of who we are and to be our very best selves. Excellence and discipline is the key. Every recipient of a Murrow Award or Murrow Honor has shown discipline, grit, thoughtfulness, creativeness, resourcefulness, and the ability to sacrifice. I'm willing to bet you all at times have stayed up a little later, pushed back dinner, missed something important to a loved one. Why? Because you care. Not just because you cared about your particular story or because you're ambitious. Yes, I know that's part of it. But I would like to believe and do believe that a lot of us do what we do because we care. Again, public service. Working on behalf of others. Serving others is noble. That's why I'm so glad the Murrow Awards celebrate all that is right about our profession. The Murrows celebrate the best of us and our best ideals. In a time like this, it would have been wonderful to be together in each other's presence for our annual celebration of journalism. COVID-19 has robbed us of that too. But we're still together virtually in spirit, as my mother would say, making do. We're all doing our jobs in different work scenarios than a year ago this time, but our can-do spirit and creativity is on display with these Murrow Awards. So proud to call you colleagues, brothers and sisters in journalism. As my forefathers and mothers used to say, keep on keeping on. Much love and respect. Enjoy the evening.
Innovation is happening at a rapid pace, and the winners of Excellence in Innovation are leading the way. Interactive investigations, digital and social campaigns to affect change and hold the powerful accountable, giving young people the power to express themselves in their own voice. 3D experiences and real-time news delivery, to name a few. We are so impressed and happy to honor them. For Small Market TV, congratulations to KTVB TV for 360 3D. Large Market TV, WBBM TV for Unwarranted. Network TV, Nexstar Media Group for Border Report. In Small Market Radio, WNIN for Que Pasa Midwest, Season 4. Large Market Radio, WBEZ Chicago Public Media for Chicago's towing program is broken. Network Radio, NPR for its Student Podcast Challenge. Small digital news organization, Frame for the separation of families fight to stay together after one of the largest ICE raids in U.S. history. Large digital news organizations, Center for Public Integrity, USA Today, and Arizona Republic for Copy, Paste, Legislate.
Multimedia stories told by these winners use interactive web content, online crowdsourcing, virtual reality, and more to make sure their communities always stayed informed in a variety of ways. Congratulations to Small Market TV, WGRZ TV in Buffalo, New York. Large Market TV, KXAN TV in Austin, Texas for KXAN Investigates. Network TV, CNN Digital. For Small Market Radio, WFPL in Louisville, Kentucky. Large Market Radio, KPCC and California Dream Collaboration, Pasadena, California for Grain, California. Network Radio, CAP Radio and NPR for Tahoe Land, Trawling for Clarity.
Our feature documentary winner features rare and never-before-seen large-format footage of one of humanity's greatest accomplishments. We're excited to present the Edward R. Murrow Award to CNN for Apollo 11.
Stay tuned. Coming up next is investigative reporting and network radio overall excellence. The 2020 RTDNA Edward R. Murrow Awards will be right back.
Now, when it matters most, the straightforward facts. ABC News is America's #1 news. #1 in the morning, #1 in the evening, and the #1 show on all of television. #1 in late night versus the competition. #1 in politics versus the competition. The #1 daytime talk show. And #1 in streaming news. Most trusted, most watched. ABC News is America's #1 news.
Through times of conflict, through cultural upheavals,
by the Associated Press,
and through the evolution of media itself, we have been right there, often risking our lives, to report exactly what happens as it happens. Thanks to our work, more than half the planet sees accurate news every single day. And we believe a world in which more people know what's happening around them is better equipped to face the challenges we share. No organization in the world does more to advance the power of facts.
Investigative reporting, TV plus digital. Investigative reporters dig deep to get their story. These TV and digital winners exposed a powerful drug sold online that has caused tens of thousands of deaths, tracked down delinquent taxes totaling more than $2 million, found secret deals within the FDA, gave voice to whistleblowers exposing massive security failures in an Arizona prison, and explored the tragic rate of femicides in the most violent region in the world. Congratulations to Small Market TV, WDBJ TV, for We Can't Get Anybody to Call Us Back, tracking a governor's tax debt. Large Market TV, KNXV TV, for Unlocked and Unsafe. Network TV, CBS News, 60 Minutes, Online Overdose. Small digital news organization, Kaiser Health News, for Hidden Harm. Large digital news organization, Univision News, Digital and Time, for In El Salvador, Violence is driving girls to kill themselves.
Sifting through more than 12,000 pages of documents to expose inadequate care, questioning one of the nation's toughest immigration judges on her record, and revealing a tailspin of debt, regulatory and social costs tied to the legalization of gambling in Illinois. Their work should be commended, and we are proud to honor them. In Small Market Radio, Vermont Public Radio, and 7 days for Worse for Care. Large Market Radio, WBEZ, Chicago Public Media, and ProPublica, Illinois, The Bad Bet. And for Network Radio, Reveal from the Center for Investigative Reporting for Immigration Judge.
TV newscasters were on the scene with both local and national headlines, from a shootout to massive storms to a nightly newscast that looks at the biggest national stories of the day. Winners in the television newscast category are Small Market TV, WAFB TV from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Large Market TV, WNBC, New York. And Network TV, CBS News, the CBS Evening News with Norah O'Donnell.
Radio newscasts had it all covered, from their local communities to across the country. A dairy crisis, the death of a police officer, mass shootings, and elections. What exceptional reporting and coverage from these winners. Congratulations to Small Market Radio, 570 News, for Waterloo Region Goes Red. Large Market Radio, WTMJ, Wisconsin Afternoon News. Network Radio, CBS News Radio, for CBS World News Roundup.
Sharp and authoritative breaking news mixed with thoughtful features are just a few of the reasons this winner was selected for overall excellence in the network radio category. Judges said, I'm quoting now, through and through, this entry delivered the very best in radio journalism, end quote. Let's listen.
19 deaths and 40 injuries in a mass shooting at a shopping center in El Paso, Texas.
Survivors took shelter under tables.
Go! Go!
Others ran for their lives.
A raging fire on the roof of the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris at this hour.
Much of the roof is disappearing before the eyes of horrified onlookers.
Dorian has made a second landfall in the Bahamas as the most powerful Atlantic hurricane landfall on record.
Shock and horror.
Everything you had, everything's gone, everything.
On Capitol Hill, more Democrats are speaking up. Georgia's John Lewis.
I truly believe the time to begin impeachment proceedings has come.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no.
We pass the 2 articles of impeachment. The president is impeached.
33 parents paid enormous sums to guarantee their children's admission to certain schools through the use of bribes and fake academic and athletic credentials.
For Network Radio Overall Excellence, I'm pleased to present the Edward R. Murrow Award to CBS News Radio. Congratulations.
Up next, Network TV Overall Excellence. Don't go away. The 2020 RTDNA Edward R. Murrow Awards will be right back.
Podcasts have become such an important part of our journalism landscape. This year's winners took listeners on important journeys that explored everything from murder and police privilege to missing persons in a divided America. They investigated powerful men, haunted hospitals, and the devastating impact of an alleged fraud on the lives of nearly 200,000 patients. You'll definitely want to add these winners to your list. Small Market TV, KGET TV for The Man with 1,000 Faces. Large Market TV, KXAN TV for Season 1 of Catalyst. Network TV, ABC News, The Dropout. Small Market Radio, KBIA for Show Me, The State, The Legend of Doc Annie. Large Market Radio, WABE Public Broadcasting Atlanta for Buried Truths. Network Radio, Awesome Audio and WNYC Studios for Dolly Parton's America. Small Digital News Organization, Pineapple Street Studios and Glass Cannon Incorporated for the Catch and Kill podcast with Ronan Farrow. Large Digital News Organization, Los Angeles Times and Wondery for Detective Trap. Sports have a unique way of both inspiring and encouraging us. So it's with these reports of overcoming adversity, competitive military bands, kindness conquering a slumping major league slugger, and a later in life hop in the pool. Audiences were immersed in the world of horse racing, long-distance trail running, females in football, and an all-American basketball player who stepped out of the limelight and into a monastery. Those honored for their incredible work are Small Market TV, News 12 Connecticut for United, Large Market TV, KSDK TV for Just the Right Note, Network TV, ESPN for A Long Embrace, Small Market Radio, North Country Public Radio for 4 summits in interstate and a grueling foot race. For Large Market Radio, Texas Standard for an East Texas marching band upholds a tradition, maybe for the last time. Network Radio, WBUR and NPR for learning to swim with 7'5" Celtic Taco Fall. Small Digital News Organization, Asbury Park Press and the Journal News, Dying to Race. large digital news organization. Be Real. Caitlin Bennett for Bleacher Report.
In a field crowded with excellence, this winner stood out for producing engaging journalism that covered headlines both here in the United States and around the world. Judges said the content and the way the stories were told did more than inform. They allowed the viewer to form an emotional connection with the subject matter, whether it was anger, empathy, or inspiration. Let's take a look.
Somebody comes up and says, hey, I have information on your opponent. Do you call the FBI?
If it's coming from Russia, you do.
So the demand for an investigation into the Democrats was part of the reason that he ordered to withhold funding to Ukraine.
Moving forward with the fighters of the YPG. These are the fighters that the US coalition is working with. They are the foot soldiers.
Good evening and welcome to Houston. We are live from Texas Southern University for tonight's Democratic debate. The top 10 candidates are here. It's going to start right now.
We're in a car in Chechnya with the head of a police force accused of rounding up and torturing hundreds of gay men.
When politicians send their thoughts and prayers with no action, we say no more.
They were the young men who stormed the beaches, who watched brothers die, who bravely changed the course of the war.
75 years ago tomorrow, at D-Day, I was 19.
Congratulations to ABC News for their win in network TV overall excellence, and to all our winners for your dedication to truth, accuracy, for holding the powerful accountable, and giving voice to the voiceless.
We know that 2020 has been a tough year.
We see you working the long hours and tackling the tough stories despite the personal challenges I know all of us have faced this year.
We know it's because you recognize the value of journalism and its impact on local communities.
You told so many important stories in the work we saw tonight.
But it's something you're doing every night. And we're here to tell you to keep going.
Chase the story. Tell the truth. Shine a light.
Because your work matters. Journalism matters.
Thanks for joining us tonight. Keep up the great work. Be kind and be well. Good night.